Consent and Respect, Volume 1, Chapter 5, Love Letters. He wrote me love letters, she recalls as she sits outside, barefoot on the front porch steps. She thinks to herself as the mail person delivers the post. Thoughts of him linger and she can still feel his embrace. The breeze whistling through the trees and her hair, bringing comfort from the solitude of a slow day. She doesn't speak of him. Their story is forever held quiet now, in the memories of love letters. Energy has the power to move in places of danger, and when combined with love, it is magnetic. We innately love ourselves, and we want to nurture ourselves. We want to hug and caress ourselves. We want satisfying outcomes. We allow the build-ups, the calculated moves, and the building blocks in which we choose and use as our excuses should we need to punish ourselves. Voyeurism allows us to experience all the excitement of disaster, catastrophe, and pain. To witness the most horrible human events without any danger of feeling real pain. And clandestine, marked by, held in, or conducted with secrecy. And we bypass voyeurism and clandestine so innocently with comments such as, "I'm just checking on the neighbors, and I need to be informed of what's going on in the neighborhood." There are aspects of these scenarios that are true, and only you know your intentions. Blaze is peeping out the window from across the street. He watches his neighbors as he makes a statement to his wife. "Looks like a divorce, honey. There's a lot of movement, and the police may even been called." Who remains after the pieces have fallen? A lonely, struggling wife. After garbage days are missed and the lawn overgrown, a single woman emerges. She's wearing a ball cap and rubber boots as she cleans up the mess left behind. She's pretty, no doubt, and he can feel the urgency of her rescue as she flounders to recover. He's never seen her outside doing lawn maintenance before, as she fights to figure out the lawnmower. She's trimming bushes and washing cars. She's packing boxes and moving items. "Wife," Blaze says, "the neighbor might be selling some items. I'd like to see by offering an insight on the lawnmower or something." He gains his wife's permission, and Blaze beelines it across the street, and sure enough, it's just like he thought. She's a bombshell, and he wonders what she ever saw in that awkward fellow. And she does need help. Blaze looks around her garage while lending lawnmower assistance to see what she might have for sale, and he notices art on the garage walls. She's an artist, as he looks around. He's story building. He comes into agreement with her on the damage caused to the house and what she might be doing in the backyard when she's out of sight. His agreement with her is the beginning of coherence, a blending of anonymity. His friends come over and his wife jokingly comments about Blaze picking off the old divorcee across the way. He's waiting for her to start selling her goods. His wife is aware of his need to keep a close eye, and friends agree with him. She's a knockout, and you better watch out, they warn him. Although he's already deep into his story, it'll play itself out to move the energy from its hiding places. Blaze knows her schedule, and he's seen her eating at the counter alone. She's known for late night paintings in the garage with music setting the mood, and he especially likes it when she wears lawn stockings with her shorts in the evening while sitting on the porch. Molly is living out the story of her own choices. It can be strenuous to do different and new things while managing life's difficulties. There's a place in her where she wants her hand held through life's challenging moments, and best believe there'll always be someone to answer that call. Blaze has entertained a fantasy for years of his life, a fantasy of an older woman. It catches us by the tail, whether it be from a babysitter or a teacher. It's more of a teaching fantasy, whether we know it or not. And who doesn't want to learn in the most rewarding and satisfying environments ever? He's been married since early college. It was a pregnancy that set the tone for the union, a choice. But how would he ever? How could his fantasy ever exist? Molly has freedom. She's cultivating life skills in the hours she spends alone, gathering and forcing herself into change, a change she's been avoiding. She empties the walls and filters through clothing and kitchen utensils. She unravels what she has created. It can be a lonely process as she learns to depend on her own choices. When she's given her power away to others, it can be difficult to know how to trust herself. She tends to look outside for a helping hand. Blaze was sweet when he said, "I've shown you how to use the lawnmower. I'm empowering you to figure the rest out on your own. You can do it." He runs over quickly to help with the mailbox and waves to her in and out of the driveway. It's a friendly, everyone's watching, there's nothing to hide here routine. And on the inside, Blaze stokes the flames of a long-pursued fantasy. A fantasy has a way of being real. In a sense, it creates its own life full of adventures and intrigue, and all it needs is its players. Powerful, focused energy has a way, if we allow it, to step into the best-case scenarios that calls us into action. As a child, Molly learned the art of letter writing, and it made its mark on her heart, a lost art of gifts, the art of one's own handwritten thoughts to paper, expresses in words the messages one wishes to convey to another, the wisp of letters, enunciations accentuated boldly, uppercases all making statements, matched with intelligent thinking. The letter speaks right to you with its layering of conversation. It is passion, a secret love language. And when Blaze leaves a letter for Molly in the mailbox, she quickly joins his fantasy, although she doesn't realize it. Her agreement came from the surprise of seeing a handwritten letter. Yes, yes, yes. Her heart filled with its love for the handwritten word. Love letters. His letters speak of adjustment to entertain a connection, his hurts, his previous choices. This space is not new for Blaze. He has stepped out before with harsh punishment, and he vowed to correct his mind. Unhealed trauma can be wrangled. It cannot and will not disappear. It will have its need met, or it will cause havoc in a life that somehow becomes unbearable. The power of our energy will be met. And Blaze convinces himself by giving into something he loves. Titties. He has a nipple fetish. And the thing about a nipple fetish is you need a player. And so he makes the big ask. It's late, under the cover of the moonlight. Let's meet outside. And Molly agrees and emerges in her pajamas and slippers. The moment too enticing. He takes liberties and lifts her shirt to view her nudeness. A touch, a taste. Party on and game over all at once. The invitation was too much to say no to for either of them. Setting a plan is just part of the play. It is the enticement of the choice and the end goal of the action. In his letters, he writes, "Tell me more. Tell me how you'll rescue my long unrealized request. Should I jump fences for you and rearrange schedules for us?" Molly is raw in her request of him, and her game plan plays out a bit differently. She's exclusive in her pursuit, unraveling his work, and the body wants its comfort. His job is to be invited to return. "I want you to come over. It's late at his house as his house settles into sleep." Her job was to set the tone for him to do his best to return to her, in its lace panties and thigh-high stockings. He has deprived himself for far too long, and he doesn't stand a chance of saying no. And Blaze struggles to connect. He's premature ejaculating, he wants to engage, and he's having trouble even meeting her halfway. Her snap at him to disengage is as hot as fire, and Molly says, "I'm done. This is not what I want. I do not want this." As Blaze struggles to choose for himself. "What do you want?" she demands of him. He wants this. He just can't stop beating himself up about it. All the old stories of what he's chosen before and how that meant saying no to himself. He needs to do more to stay in this lane he's worked so hard for. And he slows his heart rate down. What will it take? What am I willing to give in this space? Blaze asks himself. Blaze and his wife are on two different planets when it comes to any kind of a definition of a sex life. Her stock answer and discussion is, "If I never have to do it again, that would be just fine with me." This is unrecognized from his idea of receiving head for an hour. Molly will not be begging. nor will she author the story for him. If he wants this, he's going to have to choose for himself how he would like to engage, and Blaze chooses cunnilingus. It has been so long for him that he takes his time from undressing her to the request of tasting her flower. His choice shows up in his actions, and for the first time in a long time, Blaze makes a choice for him and him alone. In his quiet request of the choice, his invitation was received. In return, the process of slowing down his jump to ejaculate, time to meet his need of sight, smell, and touch, sparks magnetic energy. How has he lived so long without this? How will he go on without it? The inertia of the moment brings sparks of anger and resentment as he snaps about his chosen life. Molly is quick to call him out. Do not hate the chosen life. Live in your choices, and when your choices no longer serve you, life changes. Blaze is on a routine, and men and routine sex is a blessing and a curse. A set routine helps so much, can also become stagnant to the nature of the routine. He has forgotten the other person. Molly is on her own path, wrangling with the effects of a divorce, and when she slams the hammer down, it slams down on everyone, and wham, he's cut off. And the jolt of our choices is all too real. Molly is calculated in her needs. She's good with sexy clothing, her self-care and painted toes of shaved legs and soft body lotion. The building she does with him, the undressing and caressing, the nakedness and constant hands-on attention. He stays away, focusing on his health and well-being. As Blaze returns to a daily routine, Molly's heartbeat is felt from across the way. His choice and his pursuit of his private needs met is too much, and Blaze rushes to Molly. Their union once again met at a higher level of intent. The sex is intense and comes with hooks. It deep dives and longs valleys. It takes and leaves memories. The tear to leave comes at a heavy price. The chop, and they do not pick it up again as Molly moves into a new life. There's no such thing as looking and no touching. You touch in your mind, and the touching, if not met with a willing partner, can reveal itself in the taking. The trauma animalistic body will satisfy. How it is revealed is a direct connection to the thought patterns that have been there for a long time. And time has a way of showing up for us just when we need it to. Life shows us a vision of how our choices contribute to or steer us away from that which our hearts desires. A life you enjoy being in, a life you are nurtured in and feel like yourself will always be okay. To enjoy a life of your choosing where love and compassion are met with consent and respect.